الله 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 نور السماوات والأرض. Lantern of light, evolving together.
As I walk through the darkness of this world, surrounded by Satan, whispers disturbed. As I walk through the darkness of this world, surrounded by Satan, whispers disturbed. I am searching for an answer. Oh Lord, please take me closer, wanting to be beside you. Guide me, oh best teacher. I am searching for an answer. Oh Lord, please take me closer, wanting to be beside you. Guide me, oh best teacher. The Almighty, with your beauty, Allah, I ask you, please just forgive me. You taught me how to love, O shaper of beauty. You told us love Mohammad and his progeny. You taught me how to love, O shaper of beauty. You told us love Mohammad and his progeny. 14 guides to salvation. Through them my sins forgiven. Beside your love and mercy, guide me to your religion. 14 guides to salvation. Through them my sins forgiven. Beside your love and mercy, guide me to your religion. The Almighty, with your beauty, Allah, I ask you, please just forgive me. The Almighty, with your beauty, Allah, I ask you, please just forgive me. Oh Allah, forgive me with your mercy. Ya Allah, اغفر لي وارحمني. Oh Allah, the beneficent, the merciful. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. with your beauty. Allah, I ask you, please just forgive me.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to our dear brothers and sisters from all over the globe, and welcome on the Lantern of Light official with me, your host Sakeena Habib, for this evening. Lantern of Light extends its heartiest and warmest wishes in welcoming the beautiful month of Ramadan into our lives in the next couple of days, inshallah. However, before bidding farewell to the final days of Sha'ban, we, especially the females, need to work on preparing ourselves and getting ready to enjoy the divine banquet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of the holy month of Ramadan. So, how do I do that, right? Before moving on, I want to tell you about what the Lantern of Light is all about. So, the Lantern of Light is a safe space, open platform where you and I can connect deeply on polishing ourselves and having a similar mindset towards achieving a greater purpose in life. It has transformed the lives of so many sisters and brothers, journeying in the banner of sisterhood, love, unity, being non judgmental, being real and authentic. The motto is letting go and letting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in so that we are able to fulfill our potential. So, learn authentic Islam through light is how the saying goes by. Now, Ramadan is a month of glory and mercy, rahmah and mawaddah. And this is the only month in the entire 12 months where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala personally invites you as his humble guest, to be invited as his humble guest. So take this not for granted, for you are chosen to attend his divine banquet. On today's short yet impactful bite sized reflection, we have an honorable special guest speaker, Sayyid Mohammad Baqer Qazwini, who will enlighten us on how can women in particular enjoy the divine banquet of Ramadan, yet attaining the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I would like to welcome Sayyid Mohammad Baqer Qazwini on board.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so
Wa
much. And it is indeed my honor to be with you in this program this evening.
Jazakumullahu khairan, Sheikh. And it is an utmost pleasure and an honor to have you indeed, in fact, on our program. And I would like to briefly introduce and say a little about Sayyid Muhammad Baqir Qazwini. He is a well-renowned scholar who has studied at the Hawza of Qom. He holds a BA in sociology from the University of Michigan and has founded Al-Hujjah Islamic Seminary. And as I mentioned, Sayyid, that many women in general, they feel sort of exhaustion and fatigue when the holy month of Ramadan approaches, and simply because they do not feel spiritually energized. They have a lot going on. For example, the youngsters, they might probably have trouble in giving more concentration to their exams or homeworks, whereas other young females at home have household responsibilities, nurturing children. There's a lot of demands and expectations for a woman. So, how can a woman maximally take the divine banquet to the fullest? And what are some practical best ways for these women to enjoy this beautiful month of Ramadan?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I begin in the name of the Almighty God, the Compassionate, the Merciful, the one who has created everything in utmost perfection. And may the peace and blessings of the Almighty God be upon His pure and beloved Messenger, His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alih, and His immaculate progeny of the Ahlul Bayt, peace be upon them. First of all, I would like to congratulate you all on the arrival of the beautiful and spiritual month of Ramadan in a couple of days, inshallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it this year especially fulfilling and spiritually rewarding. The question that you posed is indeed a very important question. I do find, based on my personal experience, that women in general, they get more exhausted in the month of Ramadan than men because there's just so much expectation from them. For instance, we all know how much our mothers, and let's say for the brothers, how much their wives have to sacrifice in the month of Ramadan in terms of just house chores and preparing those delicious meals. We men, when it comes to the month of Ramadan, we enjoy all the beautiful dishes that are offered to us. But too often we forget that women really are behind all of that, giving us those beautiful and delicious meals. So it's really exhausting for a lot of women, on top of fasting and the a'mal that they want to observe and their work and their other obligations. Now they will spend more time in the kitchen in the month of Ramadan than other times of year. And when I'm reflecting on that, honestly, it's nice to have that around us. But is this really the sunnah and the path of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his family? In the month of Ramadan, we tend to eat more than other months. And the variety of foods that we have is more than other months. And we expect our mothers to give us that variety. But if you look at the Ahlul Bayt, peace be upon them, in fact, in the month of Ramadan, they would eat less than other months, less variety than other months. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know what his iftar was in the month of Ramadan, according to our narrations? Water and dates, and sometimes water and raisins. That's it, as simple as that. Now, Sister Sakeena, I'm not here to spoil anyone's Ramadan meal and variety that you have, but honestly, I think it's very important, especially for women and sisters, to raise awareness that we'd love to offer all of that. But is this really the sunnah of the Prophet? Is this really the path of Ahlul Bayt, peace be upon them? Ramadan is a time of spiritual cleansing, a time of humbleness, a time of self-restraint and opposing desires. So I think that's one area that we can definitely reflect on in order to lift some of the burden from the sisters and to be closer to the path of Ahlul Bayt. But now let's get to that very important question that you asked. Spiritually, how do we interact with the month of Ramadan, especially for the sisters, especially for women? I would like to share with you the vision of the lantern of light to answer this question. The lantern of light is taken from this beautiful verse of the Quran that states, Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the light of the heavens and the earth. Allah is the light of the universe. Sometimes when you feel down, sometimes when you think of God and that feeling of fear demotivates you, that happens to many people, and especially women, especially sisters, because there's just so much on them. According to official studies in the United States, women in the US, if you look at their psychological struggles, such as depression, such as anxiety, on average, sometimes it's double of that of men. So there is just so much pressure on them and so many expectations. A woman these days, she's expected to work 8 to 10 hours full time. Then she's also expected to take care of the house, the chores, the children. It's just so much that modern society is burdening women with. And then the month of Ramadan comes, and the sisters would like to do the a'mal as well. and sometimes they feel guilty. I'm just exhausted. I don't have time for dua, Abu Hamza. Will Allah forgive me in the month of Ramadan or not? The night of Qadr, the nights of power. Did I take advantage of every minute? And sometimes because there's just such a great burden on them, they may not have that time to fulfill all those a'mal. So if you're struggling with that, here's what I would say to you. Remember this verse in Surah An-Nur. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. Would you be afraid of light? Allah is that light that shines from your heart. See God in this way. Look at God the way He describes Himself, not the way society describes Him, or your friends describe Him, or social expectations describe Him. Describe Him the way He describes Himself. Allah is light. Light means hope. Light means you see the way. Light means Allah will show you every step of the way. Feel comfortable. He's your guide. Now, that element of fear that we have, because we have verses in the Quran and Hadith that talk about fear, that element of fear is very simple. It's basically fearing the consequences of your actions when it comes not to taking advantage of this light. See, Allah's the light out there. If I don't take advantage of that, it's my loss. That's our fear. The fear is losing, that special status of getting the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not because God is a vengeful figure, or God is, as some brothers and sisters have told me, God's very high maintenance. You have to walk on eggshells to please Him. Can you believe that? If that's how you view God, obviously you will not be comfortable with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See Allah as a light. He's the light. He's the guidance there for you. And the fear is basically the fear of the consequences of your own actions. The fear of disappointing Him, the fear of not benefiting from this light more. That's really what the fear is about. So this month of Ramadan, I want you all, especially our dear sisters, every day, start your day by saying, Allahu Noor Samawati wal. Allah is my light. He will guide me throughout my workday. He will guide me at home. He will show me my way. Even if I don't get some of the a'mal done, as long as I recognize that He's my light and I appreciate that in my heart, I have achieved my act of worship for that day. So this is what I recommend for everyone to reflect on, especially the sisters in this month of Ramadan.
Jazakallah, Sheikh. Thank you so much for sharing this very insightful, very reflective point with all of the sisters as well as the brothers. And I personally will also take a note of this. It's an amazing verse of the Holy Quran that one can connect with on a daily basis. And we should remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all loving. He loves His creation, as also in different narrations we find His name Al-Wadud, which means the most loving. So He has a lot of love for us. And in the Quran, it's mentioned so many times that He is Ghafoor and Rahim. Yes, we find that He is also Shadeed al-Iqab, but as you said, that He has more love for us, and that we sisters should also understand the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very merciful on our actions, because He understands that our duties and our priorities and our responsibilities are also part of our lives. So thank you, Jazakallah Sheikh, for sharing that. And if we have any live questions coming in, then this is the time for everybody, for all of our dear lovely sisters to pose in. So we have a question from Sister Jannat. She says that I don't want to make food this Mahir Ramadan. I want to do ibadah and I want to spend time with Allah. How can I do that? I'm really confused. This is the question. Yeah.
That's a very valid question. I would say it's probably best not to avoid preparing food altogether, because honestly, you do get a reward for that. We have many hadiths about feeding people who are fasting. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant you a significant reward. But don't let that preoccupy most of your time. Make it simple. You're not obligated to make any fancy meals that will take hours and hours of preparation. Make something simple. It takes 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Let that be your contribution and then focus more on ibadah. So that's what I recommend. Because if you avoid that altogether, it might create a negative atmosphere at home. Maybe your family will say, "What's wrong with you this month of Ramadan? How come you're not, participating in that?" And definitely this will create some negative feelings at home, and you don't want that. So cut down on the time that you need to spend on that, but I wouldn't recommend you scrap it altogether. And then that will give you more time to prepare for ibadah. And another recommendation I have for our sisters, as you're thinking of ibadah, one of the best types of ibadah in the month of Ramadan is for you to be the glue in your family who creates the proper spiritual atmosphere at home. And we learned this from Lady Fatima alayhi salam. The hadiths tell us in the month of Ramadan, especially on the nights of Qadr, she would make sure that young Hassan and Hussein, peace be upon them, would get some sleep during the day, and she would guide them during Laylatul Qadr through the A'mal. So that shows you Lady Fatima was proactively thinking on how to create the best atmosphere for her children at home. And I
Exactly.
think, sisters, this is an area that you can really fill in the month of Ramadan. Conventionally we think, okay, the sisters in the month of Ramadan, they're busy in the kitchen. No, be busy in being creative with your spirituality. Create that beautiful environment in your house where you bring your family. Discuss every night one part of Dua Abu Hamza. Have a reflection session with your family. And you, sisters, you be the leaders of this effort. That would be a beautiful act of ibadah.
Definitely. That's very true. We have to create a very calming environment in our homes for our children as well. And we need to be very proactive. Very true. There's another question, Sheikh, and that is that are there any specific recommendations for du'as during suhoor?
Yeah, so during the suhoor time, by the way, sahar is the last third of the night. So if you're wondering what time does sahar start, let's say the night is 9 hours. Divide that into three parts. The last part, the last 3 hours before Fajr, would be called Sahar, according to the Islamic definition. Now, some of the recommended acts and du'as of of Sahar time, one of them is Du'a al-Baha. Du'a al-Baha is a du'a that makes you love God more because it allows you to see the majestic glory of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beautiful in his essence. Du'a al-Baha, you can Google it, du'as.org, you can see the translation, transliteration. It's a beautiful supplication. I recommend you gather your family and friends during that last third of the night if you can before Fajr and just reflect. Don't read du'as on autopilot, not knowing what you're saying. Just reflect sentence by sentence. If you reflect on the entire du'a throughout the month of Ramadan, that would be beautiful. That will increase your love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So du'a al-Baha, I recommend it. Also, we have a du'a in Mafatih al-Janan and other supplication books called du'a al-Sahar, the du'a of Sahar. And that one is such a beautiful du'a because it starts by saying, "Oh Allah, you are the one who's there for me in times of difficulty. Ya uddati inda shiddati. Ya Allah, in my times of difficulty, you're my support system." Saying that and reflecting on that increases your love for God.
Thank you very much for sharing that as well. So I hope that everybody is taking notes of this dua as well. It's a very nice, lovely dua. And as Sayed mentioned, let us look into the translation bit as well so we can ponder and reflect upon it and not just recite it on an autopilot mode, right? We do that a lot, and then that's why we lose that flavor in our ibadah and worship sometimes. So quality is very important. There's another question that how can I avoid the thought process of feeling unworthy of myself during this month of Shahr Ramadan, especially when it comes to dealing with my mental health and anxiety?
Anyone who struggles with the general idea of not feeling worthy, because I hear this a lot from the youth, especially these days, whether it's in the month of Ramadan or outside of the month of Ramadan. Sayyid, I don't feel worthy. If you ever struggle with the idea of not feeling worthy, I would just leave you with one statement. Who created you? Did you create yourself or did Allah create you? Allah created you. Now, my question to you is, would Allah create something unworthy?
No,
Would He? No.
not at all.
See, in fact, thinking that you're unworthy, honestly, it's offensive to God
Exactly.
because
It is.
it's like you're claiming that God creates an unworthy being. And we know that Allah, with His wisdom, with His mercy, He would never create something unworthy. That's number
Very
one.
true.
Number two, in the month of Ramadan, as you said in the opening statement, we are the guests of Allah. You, in the month of Ramadan, you who recognize your Lord and you want to fast and observe the sanctity of this month, you are the guest of God. Would God have unworthy guests?
Not at all. Without a question of doubt.
Think of that. This will help you feel a sense of relief and humbleness that you are the created and Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein. He's there.
Thank you very much, Sheikh. And that was a wonderful explanation for not feeling unworthy in this beautiful month. And there is just one last question we will take from Brother Kazim Nathani. He says, my daughter is 9. She's going to make her fast from this Maher Ramadan. Any specific tips for me how to encourage her?
It's indeed very difficult for a 9-year-old to start the fast of the month of Ramadan. We have to acknowledge that, and may Allah truly give them the power and the patience to complete that. Here is what I would recommend. Tell your daughter that you are the guest of the King of Kings, the guest of Allah, the one who created the universe, the one who created the beautiful night sky with all the stars. Allah, who's the source of beauty, the source of power, the source of richness. He has extended to you a personal invitation in this month of Ramadan to fast. So just knowing that she is personally invited by Allah will give her a sense of honor. So I would focus on this point. This will really be motivational and encouraging for her to fast in the month of Ramadan.
Inshallah. Thank you so much for that amazing, wonderful answer as well. I would like to thank Sheikh for taking out his time and for answering all these questions. And still, if there are any more further questions that the audience wants to ask, please do feel free to DM us in private as well, and then we can forward these questions to Sayed anytime. And any last words, Sayed, that you would like to share as tips or advice to help ourselves to maximize our spirituality, and anything in general that you would like to share with the audience?
I will share one last point about the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and fearing Him, as I feel many people don't know how to bring that balance. Sister Sakeena, who is the most person in your life that you love? If you don't mind me asking. Is it a parent,
After
a
Allah
spouse, a child?
subhanahu wa ta'ala, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala,
Yes,
my
after
family.
Allah and the Ahlul Bayt.
That
Okay,
includes my parents, my daughter, my husband, everybody.
okay. So your family. Let's say your mother as an example.
Yes.
When you genuinely love your mother, now when you truly love your mother and you feel safe with your mother, what do you fear? Is there anything you fear when it comes to your mother?
Yes, I would never want to disrespect her or make her
Exactly.
unproud of me. Yes.
Exactly. The more you love someone, the more you fear disappointing them and disrespecting them. That is the love of Allah. That's the fear that you should think about. When the more you love God and know His status, the more the believers fear disrespecting the status of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because this fear indicates true love. If I claim to love someone, but I don't fear disrespecting them, honestly, that's not genuine love. That's how you can think of fear. Fear is an indicator that you truly love someone. Think of it this way when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in the month of Ramadan, let's reflect on that. And remember, this beautiful month is a spiritual break. We all need vacations when we're exhausted, right? Ramadan is your
Yes,
spiritual vacation. Let's,
exactly.
stop our daily routine and get a spiritual break and truly focus on ourselves, on self-reflection, on quality time with our family, and quality time with Allah. The more you spend quality time with Allah, the better your mental health will be. The more you'll have the power to deal with mental health challenges.
Very true. Thank you so much for being with us today, Sayed. It was an utmost pleasure. And I personally loved all the points that you shared, and it was a great, great, great honor. Jazakallahu khairan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, and for all the efforts that you do, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you more tawfiq. Jazakallahu khairan.
Thank you so much. It has been my honor to be with you on this program. And may Allah bless the work of the Lantern of Light initiative. And once again, I congratulate you on the soon to be arrival of the month of Ramadan. May Allah accept our deeds and a'mal in this blessed month. And we ask Allah to hasten the reappearance of our master, Al-Imam Al-Mahdi, Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Faraja.
Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning on today's program. And this is the time to actually have a spiritual vacation, as mentioned by the Sayyid. So take this as a great, amazing opportunity. Do not take it as a burden, and make the most of this month with your family and friends, as well as with someone whom you love the most, and that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once again, we would like to wish you a very lovely evening, and we would like to thank you all from the Lantern of Light to have joined on today's program. And thank you for posting in your questions. And if you still have any more questions, please do so, and we will get back to you. And please support the Lantern of Light. As you know that we also have our website and Instagram page where we share our updates on a daily basis. The website is www.lanternoflight.co.uk, where you can share your bite-sized reflective articles, not necessary that it has to be a very long article as well. So feel free to share your thoughts. This is an open, safe platform for all of our sisters and brothers around the world. And inshallah, we will try our best to bring in the best research from the best scholars so that we can all take amazing lessons and benefits, inshallah. Thank you for tuning on today's program. This is your host, Sakeena Habib, signing off. I will remember you in my du'as, and please, all of you, do the same. Jazakum Allahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد شجرة النبوة وموضع الرسالة ومختلف الملائكة ومعدن العلم وأهل بيت الوحي اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الفلك الجارية في اللجج الغامرة يأمن من ركبها ويغرق من تركها المتقدم لهم مارق والمتأخر عنهم زاهق واللازم لهم لاحق اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الكهف الحصين وغياث المضطر المستكين وملجأ الهاربين وعصمة المعتصمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد صلاة كثيرة تكون لهم رضا، ولحق محمد وآل محمد أداء وقضاء بحول منك وقوة يا رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الطيبين الأبرار الأخيار الذين أوجبت حقوقهم وفرضت طاعتهم وولايتهم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد واعمر قلبي بطاعتك ولا تخزني بمعصيتك، وارزقني مواساة من قدرت عليه من رزقك بما وسعت علي من فضلك ونشرت علي من عدلك وأحييتني تحت ظلك. وهذا شهر نبيك سيدي رسلك شعبان الذي حففته منك بالرحمة والرضوان، الذي كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يدأب في صيامه وقيامه في لياليه وأيامه بخوعا لك في إكرامه وإعظامه إلى محل حمامه. اللهم فأعنا على الاستنان بسنته فيه ونيل الشفاعة لدي. اللهم واجعله لي شفيعا مشفعا وطريقا إليك مهيعا، واجعل لي له متبعا حتى ألقاك يوم القيامة عني راضيا وعن ذنوبي غاضيا. قد أوجبت لي منك الرحمة والرضوان وأنزلتني دار القرار ومحل الأخيار.